ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive.
We are ready to roll. It is Monday, February 17th. Your drive begins now right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Thanks for tuning in. We've got you ready to go on our text line. We do that every Monday through Friday at 877-420-TALK, 877-420-8255. Or you can text us 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. We are here until 6 o'clock. We've got Marshall to break down. The Thundering Herd over the weekend, losing its second straight on the road as well. Tough loss for Marshall against Louisiana, 79-68. I had a chance to catch up with head coach Cornelius Jackson. We're going to talk to him in just a few minutes, but that means plenty of time for you. It was a bad loss. We talked about it on our postgame. If you weren't with us after the game on Saturday, we went over it, talked a little bit about it, and the early feeling from a lot of people, it was just a bad loss to a not-so-good team. You break this one down statistically, and there are a few things that stand out. Marshall gave up 40 points in the paint. Marshall watched Louisiana take 32 free throws, hit 22. Marshall only from the free throw line went 14 of 24, so the advantage there for Louisiana. Marshall shot 23 of 61. That's not bad. It's not good. It's not bad. 37.7%. I've seen worse. The three-point line, not as bad as it was against South Alabama. 8 of 26 for 30%. Louisiana shot 27 of 61. 44.3%. 3 of 9 from the three-point line. Did not take too many threes. And as we highlighted, the free throw line where it got a lot of its points. Also, 18 points off turnovers for Louisiana. 6 for the Herd. The turnovers, a key there. And Marshall committed 13 turnovers. Louisiana, only 7. Fast break points, that hurt the Herd as well. 25 for Louisiana, only 11 for Marshall. Bench points, about the same, 15-11 in favor of Louisiana. Good news, there are some positives. Obina Anachili killing before he fouled out, had 9 blocks, 18 points, almost a double-double there. Nate Martin, which I thought was a better performance, 10 rebounds, 9 on the defensive glass, 13 points total. And then you got Jalen Spear, 2 of 11 from the three-point line, so still looking for a stroke there for the game. 6 of 18 for 14 points. Not as consistent as he was in spurts earlier, but as the team goes, so goes the three-point line, and 8 of 26, that can be a lot better. Michael Dawson was 1 of 6 from the three-point line. He only had 5 points in that game. Zane Mingo, quiet night, 7 points for him, 1 of 2 from the three-point line. You can't put it all in the three-point shot, but you can circle that a little bit. I'm not saying it's Jalen Spears' fault because he went 2 for 11. The Herd went 8 of 26 from the three-point line, but there were a lot of missed attempts. It just added up collectively, but Dawson wasn't on. Jalen Spear wasn't on. Thundering Herd, quiet night for the most part. This was a game I thought Marshall could have won. Went down by 5 at half, 35-30. Still felt good, like, okay, Marshall can clean a few things up. Second half, a little bit of the same, about even, 44-38 in favor of ULM. I mean, the atmosphere wasn't really a factor. Kind of felt dead watching it from the TV side. It felt dead. Marshall just had problems on the road. And we thought that was something that we could look past after Marshall went 3 straight on the road, 3 out of 4 in that last long road trip. But instead, the Thundering Herd struggling these last 2 games. So this is sort of a new week now, sort of a reset and you're going to be facing the same two opponents for the last 2 weeks of play, Old Dominion and App State. I don't know if I like this schedule or not. I mean, on one hand, there's some familiarity there. You don't have to worry about the Scout too much. The Scout is going to be easy for the next couple of weeks. But I don't know if I like the way this schedule has been put together for the Herd. There are 4 road games, and you have 2 sets of 4 on the road. There isn't road, home. I'm not a big fan of that. And Marshall seems to be the only team that has to deal with that scheduling quirk. Hopefully that gets cleaned up in the future. I mean, let's balance this out a little. If you got to do 3 on the road, I get that. And, of course, I know Marshall is not participating in the men's MAC Sunbelt Challenge. So, in a sense, that gave the Herd a little extra time. One night not playing basketball. I don't know if that was beneficial or not to have that rest time or that time off. But I'm just not a big fan of the schedule. It's not the reason why Marshall's having problems. The schedule's not the problem. But I don't like it. It's not balanced enough for my taste. But I get it. You have a 3-game road trip. Yeah, okay, that's one thing. But 4-game road trip and then another 4-game road trip. And I know they're not consecutive nights. Marshall comes back home, but Marshall gets home, then has to go right back on the road. The good news is Marshall does get to finish the season at home, regular season that is, until the tournament. And then anybody's guess what happens. Marshall's still in a spot where maybe top 2 is not realistic. Top 4 could be realistic. Maintain, stay in the top 6. I think top 4 could be realistic, maybe that 3 or 4 spot. Few things have got to happen. The only bad thing here is Marshall can't gain ground on any of the teams ahead of it because Marshall can't play any more of those teams. It's Old Dominion and App State. Marshall's ahead of those teams right now. Marshall can't gain ground by beating one of the top teams. Instead, Marshall, the best it can do is win out and hope for the best. It's going to be a fun race to the finish. And I asked Coach Jackson a little bit later on, we'll hear his comment about, are you in that urgency mode now? Do you put a sense of urgency on these last few games? And Coach, in a nutshell, was like, no, we're looking at today only. So we'll get his comments in a few minutes. We'll hear from you, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. That was not the road trip we were hoping for the Thundering Herd. And then, of course, it was a busy weekend. We had the Daytona 500. And I hate the Daytona 500, especially around rain season. Can never seem to get that thing done. Had to watch it get delayed twice. And that just kills it for me. Always seems to be the Daytona 500 that is hit the most. So the Daytona 500 last night finishing up. William Bryan, Hendrick Motorsports, back-to-back winner now, the Daytona 500. A last lap wreck got him his second straight win. So congratulations to him. And of course, the NBA All-Star game was yesterday. If you can call it a game, it was more of a, I don't know how to describe that to you. I watched it. Kevin Hart was annoying. I get it. You're having a lot of celebrities and pop culture intersect with the game. And for the most part, it was okay. I like the East-West format that has seemed to have died off. There's a push for USA versus the world. I would be okay with that. I didn't like the format, though, because first to 40 wins, there was more talk time and more commercial time than there was game time. It really didn't feel like a game. It was just, I don't understand. LeBron James didn't play, and not that that was really a factor for me, but he pulls out the last minute. He's there, but due to injury, he's getting up there in age and basketball years, so I'm sure he's preserving himself, but at the same time, it had to be a disappointment for a lot of people wanting to see LeBron play. I mean, presentation on that note, I'll say this. The NBA really knows how to put on a show. But when you get to the actual game itself and the basketball, it was all right. I just wasn't invested in it at all. Can't root for the East side. I mean, if you're an East guy, you're rooting for the East. If you're a West guy, West Coast guy, or your favorite teams on the West Coast, maybe you're rooting. I mean, I like the Lakers. I like the Knicks also from years gone by. But yeah, historically, Magic Johnson, big fan of his. Not the biggest Kobe fan growing up historically, but he was a Laker, so you always rooted for Kobe. I mean, I think Kobe rehabilitated himself in my mind enough that I could actually feel good about rooting for him. But I was a Laker fan, always Lakers versus Celtics. So, I was East-West. Maybe I was on the wrong coast. I don't know. I had no investment in this thing last night. It was not fun. And then just the overall presentation, while fine, and then you have the yuck nature of Kevin Hart interjecting himself during the game. I just, shut up, Kevin Hart, please. So that was not interesting at all. I probably should have watched Saturday Night Live. I should have skipped the NBA All-Star Game, watched Saturday Night Live. But instead, I watched that. It was okay. The big one for me was the USA-Canada matchup, which drew rave reviews. It was intense. You probably saw the headlines if you didn't watch it. 3 fights in 9 seconds. I don't know if we're going to get that kind of energy on Thursday as Canada defeated Finland not that long ago, 5-3. So we got a rematch. Over 4 million watched the game, and it peaked at 5.1, the 4.1 million average, I think it was. There was just over 4 million. But it peaked over 5 million. So a lot of people were watching that, and it drew rave reviews. This is the All-Star format this year, and it's best on best international play. You have Sweden, Finland, United States, Canada all represented, and they're playing like it means something. This isn't, it's an exhibition, it's an all-star game. No, they're playing like it means something, and it really shows the level of play. This is what we want to see an all-star game be. We want to see it mean something. We want to see players invested. Fans were invested. It meant something when USA beat Canada on Saturday, and they get another shot at it again. Hopefully they can pull that off, but Canada looked good today. But this is the format that I prefer now. Best on best means something. Go all in. And I don't know if the NBA can replicate that the way the NHL is. The other all-star game that I think I'm better with now than I have been in the years past is the MLB all-star game. Not a big fan of the stuff that the NFL's doing. But for me right now, if you're looking at the 4 major sports, and yes, there is bias, I acknowledge that, but I think the 4 nations face-off has been a rousing success. It's huge. It's done the way that I think fans really appreciate and the players really get into it and have been wanting this, and they're into it. And then I think baseball's got a pretty good all-star format. It's a little bit more compelling and interesting than anything else the rest of the leagues are doing. NBA, I would probably put it third, and the NFL, I just don't even care. Do not care whatsoever. It doesn't mean anything to me. It's fine. Maybe you could have it during the springtime, summer. I don't know if a date change would mean anything, if anyone would really care. But of the big 4, NFL's probably at the bottom, but the NBA is fast approaching the bottom for me. So what'd you do this weekend? We watched Marshall, obviously. We rooted on the Thundering Herd. Hopefully Marshall can bounce back from a tough loss against Louisiana. And we'll hear from Coach Jackson looking ahead in a few moments, and we'll hear from you. Our text line this hour brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Texter says, Paul, I had to switch channels between the Marshall game and USA versus Canada hockey game. Obviously, the Herd played a bad game, but that USA versus Canada hockey game was fire. We gave them Canadians what they deserved, and looking forward to the rematch on Thursday. I'll still be tuning into the Herd and cheering on Marshall as well. Same here. Of course, I'm working. I'll be here on Thursday. I'll have the tablet and the second screen set up. I'll be keeping an eye on Marshall, listening to the game, listening to Mr. Cotton, and, of course, following the hockey game. I'm sure that's going to be a dilemma for a lot of you. You're going to follow the herd. Do you put hockey, USA, Canada, the rematch on the big screen, and do you watch the herd on the little screen? Or do you do what I do, listen to the game, follow along on TV on something else? Got options here. USA tonight taking on Sweden. It's I don't want to say it's a meaningless game. Sweden's going to be playing for pride, but Sweden and Finland have been eliminated from the championship as Canada cinched not that long ago. But still should be fun. Sweden, USA coming up, I think 7 o'clock airtime's on TV, so it should be fun tonight if you want to get a sort of a indoctrination before the big rematch on Thursday. Our text line this hour, 304-396-TALK, brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop. We'll hear from head coach Cornelius Jackson when we continue on this edition of The Drive, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Stuck in a state of falling behind, struggling to keep up with kids, finances, insurance, and life? Well, let your State Farm agent help you simplify and get to a better state. With State Farm handling your auto, home, and life insurance, you'll have more time to handle everything else. More money, too. Adding State Farm policies can earn discounts that could add up to 40% and help you get ahead. Call an agent today and get to a better state with State Farm. In Huntington, John Garden, 304-525-1116. And in Barbersville, Marcia Slater, 304-736-6100.
Hey, Tri-State. Frank's Place is where friends hang out with friends. Stop on by for happy hour from 4 to 6 p.m. and a lot of daily specials. If you're a sports fan, we have what you want. From the biggest game in professional football, NBA, NCAA basketball, and the NHL. First responders, stop by Frank's Place and check out the specials we have for you. Frank's Place, located at the River Place Plaza, next to Fratelli's. Check us out on Facebook for weekly updates and specials. Frank's Place, your home away from home.
Now's your chance. Tackle those bigger projects with an 11% rebate on everything at Menards. Transform your home with a new Dakota closet. Build your dream bathroom and save on luxury tubs and showers. Customize your kitchen with Clearview cabinetry. Or start your big garage project. Get an 11% rebate on everything at Menards. 11% mail-in rebate is a merchandise credit check. Good on future in-store purchases. See Menards.com for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Stuck in a state of falling behind, struggling to keep up with kids, finances, insurance, and life? Well, let your State Farm agent help you simplify and get to a better state. With State Farm handling your auto, home, and life insurance, you'll have more time to handle everything else. More money, too. Adding State Farm policies can earn discounts that could add up to 40% and help you get ahead. Call an agent today and get to a better state with State Farm. In Huntington, Jeff Smith, 304-781-1234. And in Wayne, Vicky Tabor, 304-272-5149.
I had the worst dream last night. You were in a car crash, and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
That's awful, hon.
My brother was saying he got life insurance from Ethos. With Ethos, it only took 10 minutes, and he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online. No medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
Sample rate is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy, non-smoking male. Billed monthly.
I'm at the movies, asking people if they'll switch seats with me for $574.
Here, take mine.
So what about $574 if you switch your home insurance to Allstate?
Too much work.
Not if you call them. They handle the switching.
Now, that's a plot twist.
Shh. Check Allstate first, and you could save hundreds on quality home insurance today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Not available in every state. Based on the national average annual savings for new home insurance customers surveyed in 2023 who switched to Allstate and reported savings. Savings vary.
With the start of a new year comes new tax laws, deduction changes, updated child tax credits. Sounds scary? Relax. Angel Tax and Bookkeeping has you covered. Whether it's taxes in your home state or across multiple states, Angel Tax is your dependable tax expert. Up to date on every new change. File in person or drop them off. It's easy and stress-free with Angel Tax and Bookkeeping. Call 740-886-6500 or visit Angel Tax and Bookkeeping at 127 State Street in Proctorville. Angel Tax and Bookkeeping. This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Miss an episode?
Catch it anytime on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back to our Monday edition of The Drive here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Our text line this hour, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop. A lot of things happening this week. We're getting off to a fast start. Yesterday, it was probably one of the greatest rounds in Marshall program history. A 9 under 63 for Marshall senior golfer Ryan Bilby to lead the 2025 Loyola Intercollegiate by 4 strokes after day 1. Looking at the live scoring right now, he is tied for 1. I think it's going to be an interesting wrap-up of this thing. We've got round 3 coming up tomorrow, and this thing looks like it's going to go to wire, but the Bilby right now still leading the Loyola Intercollegiate. So that's a good performance right there. As far as the team leaderboard's concerned, Marshall's got some work. Marshall is 8th right now in the team leaderboard, even in that event, but we're still hoping that the Herd can get a few more people up in the leader area. I just don't know what to say about that. I don't think collectively we could ever shoot anything like that. I don't think 4 or 5 of us could go out and just take our best holes. 9 under 63. That's a pretty impressive. It was a good win for the Marshall tennis team, bouncing back after a loss against Virginia Tech, getting a victory over VCU 4-2. So the squad bouncing back after I thought was challenging loss against Virginia Tech. I think Virginia Tech's going to be really good, and that's going to happen to a lot of teams. So I don't think that's indicative of what this Herd tennis season is going to be. That was Marshall's first loss, so a nice bounce back against VCU on Sunday. And, of course, baseball, losing all 4 of its games against Hawaii, fell Sunday 10-2. I had a chance to catch up with Coach Beals earlier. I really wasn't happy with the audio quality. It was okay, but I don't think you could have understood it. The gist of it was this was a great opportunity for Marshall to go out there, play some West Coast baseball, get a feel for that. And, I mean, it's an opportunity that doesn't come along very often. You get a chance to go and play in Hawaii, get to experience a different style of play, go up against a really good team, learn about yourself. It was a good experience, so we'll try to get that to you. I want to clean that audio up a little bit if we're going to run it, but I think you got the gist of it. A good experience for the Herd baseball team. Our text line, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Let's go back to the text line, brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop. Texter says, Paul, I bleed green, but I've had enough of the Herd basketball team for this year. The repetitive situations of can't make threes, can't hit foul shots at critical times, unforced turnovers, big men in foul trouble. I can't watch or listen to this anymore. I appreciate the text. 4 to go, and then the tournament. 4 to go. I'm not saying lose hope just yet. I think 4 to go. And there's an opportunity here. Marshall's got 2 at home to wrap up the regular season. Then you go to the tournament. And so here's an opportunity for Marshall to start putting it together. Get hot now. I would have liked to see that 2 games back. And I feel that there should be some excitement getting closer to the tournament. But Marshall's got to go out there and generate that excitement. Because if Marshall loses the next 2, that's going to dampen a lot of people's spirits. And that's going to really put Marshall in a hole when it comes to this tournament seeding. Because I don't know how many of you like it. I don't think I've really taken a survey just of how many people listening to the show like the tournament format. I like it. You got to win. You want to get to the NCAA tournament, you got to win. You're rewarded for your regular season. The season matters. To me, the regular season does matter. It's not ultimately what's going to get you to the NCAA tournament, but it should matter because, honestly, if you want the team that does the best, take a chance on the regular season champion. Instead of creating this tournament structure where you have this tournament, how much money is the league really making on the tournament? And it gives a lot of teams second chance or false hope. And sometimes it wrecks your league because a team gets really hot from the bottom up. And so this is sort of like if you can win 7 games, you deserve the NCAA tournament bid, or if you can come out from 6. But it gives the teams that have had a really good season an opportunity to rest, and it also gives them an opportunity to have a shorter path to the NCAA tournament. Let's go back to our text line, 304-396-TALK, brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop. Texter says, Paul, we can defeat any team in the Sun Belt Conference if we play our best. Appreciate the text. Marshall gets hot, especially from the three-point line. If Marshall can get hot, and we've seen it happen, Marshall can play with everybody. There hasn't really been a team where I thought Marshall doesn't match up well with this team. Marshall can't beat this team. I have felt, maybe to my detriment, I have thought that Marshall has been in and should have won most of the games it lost. There hasn't been a time where I thought, wow, that team was just way better than the Herd. I mean, maybe there's some bias coming out of my mouth right now. I'll take that. I'll own that. But I just haven't felt like Marshall's been just outclassed in any league game. So that's a positive for me that Marshall can still put it together. Coach Jackson earlier today, had a chance to spend a few minutes with him with his weekly presser. And first up, as he always does, kind of gives us where we're at this week with his opening statement.
Another huge opportunity coming up for us this week. I mean, obviously last week didn't go as planned. I thought against South Al, we took, 48 threes? Probably too many. If I had to do it again, I'll say, look, let's play inside out. But I didn't want our guys to overthink it. They're a different type of team because they play 2-3 zone the whole game. I didn't want our guys to overthink it. With that being said, we took them to overtime, and it was a really good basketball game down there in Mobile. Then we go to Louisiana, and I didn't feel we had the right energy. We made too many mistakes. After watching the film 3 times, we missed 14 open shots. We were 58% from the line, 14 for 24. And then we just had too many mental breakdowns. So we didn't play hard enough. You miss shots. When you don't play hard enough and you miss shots and you have breakdowns, you usually come out and lose in the end. That's what happened to us at Louisiana.
What do you think? Is that a fair assessment? Does his assessment match your assessment? Missed too many open shots, didn't have the right energy, had some breakdowns. I don't think Coach is going to sugarcoat it. And so one of the things about his statement led to the question if there was just a hangover from that game against South Alabama. Did South Alabama cost Marshall the game against Louisiana?
Yeah, maybe. We met as a staff and talked about that. One of my coaches, he said, Coach, South Alabama may have beat us twice because it was a physical game, just like the rest of the league, but the overtime game, and it may have took a lot out of our guys. I just didn't feel that we had the pop at Louisiana. We're a team. We have to play hard. We have to be physical, and we have to play tough. In my opinion, we can't win any other way. So when we come out and don't do those two things, then it's a toss-up.
That's a fair assessment. That was something that a lot of you noticed. you relayed to me, like, hey, look, they didn't come out to play. They didn't look good. They didn't have energy. And so you got to play hard. You can't just turn that on. You just don't walk in and say, okay, turn it on now. Let's go. That's not how it works. Either you're ready to go or you're not. You just can't, most part. I don't know too many individuals that can just snap a finger and say, okay, we're ready to go. So how do you get the team to play hard? And I think Coach said it best. It just comes down to preparation.
You know what? It's all in the preparation. You know, we probably did a little bit too much on Friday after the game. You know, we lost at South Isle. They played zone, so we tried to get our guys back in a man-to-man mindset. So we probably did too much, but maybe overdid it. I don't know. You know, when you lose, you look for ways to improve, and when you win, you look for ways to improve. You know, if you stop learning, then you might as well get out of this business, win or lose. So, just mental preparation. You know, mental preparation. These guys, I mean, they're smart young men. So when they don't do something execution-wise, you know, you look for other reasons because one, they want to do it. All right. Two, they're smart young men. So when they don't do it, you start looking, saying, okay, did we overdo it? You know, do you give them some grace and say, hey, you know, it was a mental breakdown maybe because he was tired.
I can assess that statement in 2 words. It's true. Sometimes you have those mental breakdowns, and it can come from fatigue. It can come from being mentally exhausted. Trust me, we can go back into the radio archives of this program. You can hear examples of that fatigue sometimes. I don't think that any of us are immune from that fatigue, but we're at a point now where it's going to cost Marshall if it happens more often. And the Thundering Herd has been on the road a few times. And at this point of the schedule, I know that's a hard fact for a lot of people to swallow, that it's still plaguing the Herd or there's been some problems here. So Marshall's got a couple more on the road before the final 2 at home. Can Marshall get it back? Can Marshall figure it out? Can Marshall find a way to prepare properly, not over-prepare? Obviously, you don't want to under-prepare, but can Marshall find that balance and get that, I don't want to say that hard playing, ready to go, locked in feeling? Because with 4 games to go, you have to be locked in every single day. You have to be locked in. But at the same time, and this was Coach talking about where Marshall's at now. You lost a tough one to South Alabama. And then you go and you lose another one to Louisiana. You don't have an opportunity to come home and regroup. You got to go back out on the road, and now you got to figure it out before you come back home in another week. And so the challenge for Coach Jackson, and he was asked about this, is the fact that they're going to watch the film. They've already watched the film at this point and looked at it. And now they're going to have to figure out a way collectively. They can say it, but they're going to have to figure out a way collectively to, as Coach talked about, turning the page from the weekend.
Yeah, you know what? We'll watch the film right after this as a team, and then we'll turn the page. You know, we like we do every week. We turn the page. Once we watch this film, talk about what we can learn from it, we'll turn the page. We'll move on right on to ODU. We always do it. That's our operation. You know, we turn the page and we'll watch the film, and what we do, Keith, is we'll give them a 2-minute break, right? So we'll watch the film. Now you get a 2-minute break, and now it's right to ODU. So it's a process. You know, our guys fought. I just thought that we we made too many mental mistakes, and we didn't play hard enough.
Coach Jackson, his assessment of what the Herd did right and wrong this weekend. We'll have more from him in just a few minutes. Back to our text line, brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop at 304-396-TALK. Texture says, Paul, if you don't come out with energy and do not hustle for loose balls and rebounds, this falls back on the coach. That is his job, to have the players ready to play ball. If he can't do this, then we need someone who can. I appreciate your text. We're going to hear more from Coach. I asked him about what the mindset is now. Is it one at a time, or is there an urgency knowing that you've got 4 more to go until the tournament? We'll get his response to that when we continue, and we'll hear more from you on this edition of The Drive, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Charleston, the wait is over. Hand drying is back. Exclusively at Thoroughbred Express, downtown Charleston. They're bringing back that spotless shine with a personal touch of a hand-dried finish. Want to keep your ride looking flawless all year? A Thoroughbred Express Unlimited membership has you covered. Rain, snow, mud, salt, they've got your back with premium amenities, top-notch service, and the clean car you deserve. Join the winner's circle with Thoroughbred Express. Visit them downtown today.
At Poca Valley Bank, a handshake can still mean the start of a great relationship. We've been greeting customers with a handshake since 1908. Why settle for less? If you're purchasing your first home or planning for your future, Poca Valley Bank is here to support you with personalized service and local expertise. They are your trusted advisors. Why settle for less when you can experience banking with a team that truly cares? Poca Valley Bank, where relationships matter. Visit PocaValleyBank.com. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Stalwart Insurance is the name for insurance in the tri-state. They are committed to delivering tailored benefit solutions with thoughtful, strategic planning with valuable professional services. Stop by or call Stalwart Insurance for your homeowner's insurance needs. Stalwart Insurance is located right beside Kitty Queen Hardware on Route 10 in Barbersville. Call Stalwart Insurance anytime at 304-552-3883. That's 304-552-3883. Or visit them online at stalwartinsurance.com. Buddy's All-American Barbecue is now in Milton. Enjoy all your favorite Buddy's classics like pulled pork, brisket, ribs, and more on East Main Street in Milton. Buddy's All-American Barbecue, the home of great barbecue, ice-cold beer, and killer wings in Huntington and now in Milton.
Get ready to hit the road with Gomart. Each month we're featuring a special item to fuel your journey and score you bonus reward points in our Road to Rewards promotion. Each purchase earns you a token, so load up and keep cruising toward big rewards. Plus, the top 25 token earners each month will receive 5,000 additional bonus reward points. Check the Gomart app to see this month's featured item, and as always, earn additional savings on products store-wide with reward member exclusives. Go to Gomart.com for more details.
All of Herd Country is excited for the new era of Marshall University football with Coach Tony Gibson's Herd out there next fall seeking to defend Marshall's Sun Belt Conference Championship. But you do not have to wait for September to get your first look at the 2025 Herd, because that happens with the Green and White Spring Game Saturday, April the 12th, the 3 o'clock kickoff. Your sneak peek at the new look Herd includes a big celebration with dozens of Marshall alumni coming back to Edwards Stadium. And at $5 per ticket, you cannot beat the price. Get your tickets now at herdzone.com.
This February, make date night unforgettable at Dave & Buster's the Huntington Mall with a Thursday date night duo deal. Every Thursday and Valentine's Day night, enjoy the date night duo deal. That's 2 eat and play combos, 1 dessert to share, and a date night challenge card. All for just $40. A deal so good it's worth falling for. Celebrate love, laughter, and a little friendly competition every Thursday in February and Valentine's Day night. Only at Dave & Buster's in the Huntington Mall.
Hi, this is Dave Wilson, host of Metro News Talk Line, and you're listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Thank you, Dave. Don't forget you can catch Dave tomorrow, 10:06, right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Our text line this hour brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop is 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Had a chance earlier today to head over to the Henderson Center, catch up with the head coach of the Thundering Herd, Cornelius Jackson, And, of course, Marshall not winning over the weekend, the last two. So, in a tough spot right now. It's still possible. I don't think it's happening, though. It's not impossible, but it might be improbable. Marshall might not finish in the top 2, but Marshall can still finish in the top 4. There's some weird numbers that are going to have to happen. Marshall's just going to have to win out, and we're going to have to hope for the best. If Marshall wins out, I'll feel good about where Marshall's at. As we get set for the tournament, we're thinking about the tournament. We're looking at the standings every single weekend to see where Marshall's at. Coach can't do that. I think that's a fair statement right there. He can't do that because he's got to focus right now on Old Dominion. But with that said, there's 4 to go and then the tournament. And I was curious, is there any advantage to creating a sense of urgency, knowing that you got to get it going now, you got to start this run now? Because you know how some teams come out and they say the playoffs have begun for us today. We're playing the rest of the season like we're in the playoffs. You know, it's win and it's survive and advance, win and end, survive and advance. You know how teams get into that mindset. So I was curious, is that something that maybe Coach Jackson would see an advantage for, getting into that mindset that, okay, you know, our playoff run starts today? Or is that, and he would know his team better than I would, is that something that may be detrimental to your team? Is it more advantageous to go one game at a time? I wanted to get his thoughts on it. And true to form, I'll give Coach this. He is very consistent. He doesn't falter very often. He feels that it should be winning today and then winning tomorrow, then winning Wednesday, then going out and winning Thursday, and then rinse and repeat. Here's his response to my question.
Yeah, we focus on today. You know, I hadn't thought 2 seconds about the tournament. So we focus on winning today. So we have to win, what's today, Monday? We need to win Monday. And then we need to win Tuesday. And then we need to win Thursday, Wednesday, and then Thursday. That's kind of how we approach it. You know, you can't, in this business, you can't get too high, you can't get too low. You know, if you do, then you get caught off guard, right? So never too high, never too low, and focus on the day of right there in the present, because that's the only thing we can control, right? I'm hearing it's supposed to get 9 to 12 inches of snow at Old Dominion, right? So we can't wear it. The game, I don't know, are we playing it? 9 to 12 inches, maybe, maybe not. But what we can control is winning today, and that's what we'll focus on.
Coach Jackson, his comments from earlier this afternoon. We'll talk about Old Dominion with Coach tomorrow. We'll get your text in rest of the way, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. We've got to hit our final break. We do that. We'll come back the rest of the way. It's all you on our Clark's Pump and Shop text line for this edition of The Drive, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Now is the time to add on a new bathroom or remodel your old one with the latest up-to-date bathroom fixtures from Mutual Wholesalers, 710 5th Street, Huntington. Come in today to Mutual Wholesalers' beautiful showroom and see how your new bathroom will look. Check out Acre by Max. Have a new bathroom this year. Mutual Wholesalers, locally owned and operated, 710 5th Street, Huntington. Call 304-525-9118.
Metro Community Federal Credit Union has been serving the Huntington community for 70 years and is proud to announce our newest location in Lavalette is now open. Wayne County residents, you now have access to a modern banking facility, a full range of services, advanced technology, expert financial advice, and even a smart coffee kiosk cafe. Learn more about Metro Community Federal Credit Union online at metrocommunityfcu.com or visit us today on 5th Street Road.
Equal housing lender, member NCUA.
Hey, Tri-State, Frank's Place is where friends hang out with friends. Stop on by for happy hour from 4 to 6 p.m. and a lot of daily specials. If you're a sports fan, we have what you want. From the biggest game in professional football, NBA, NCAA basketball, and the NHL. First responders, stop by Frank's Place and check out the specials we have for you. Frank's Place, located at the River Place Plaza, next to Fratelli's. Check us out on Facebook for weekly updates and specials. Frank's Place, your home away away from home.
Stalwart Insurance is the name for insurance in the tri-state. They are committed to delivering tailored benefit solutions with thoughtful, strategic planning with valuable professional services. Stop by or call Stalwart Insurance for your homeowner's insurance needs. Stalwart Insurance is located right beside Kenny Queen Hardware on Route 10 in Barbersville. Call Stalwart Insurance anytime at 304-552-3883. That's 304-552-3883. Or visit them online at stalwartinsurance.com.
Food Fair is making shopping simpler than ever. Visit the brand new foodfairmarkets.com or download the Food Fair app to experience shopping at your fingertips with Easy Shop. Browse the digital weekly circular, add items to your cart effortlessly, and enjoy exclusive early access to sales. Plus, earn cart cash rewards seamlessly. And with the Buy It Again feature, finding your favorite items is just one tap away. It's all at foodfairmarkets.com or the Food Fair app. Food Fair, delightfully local, deliciously fresh.
Scioto Shoe Mart's President's Day sale is Monday, February 17th through Saturday the 22nd with fantastic savings. Assorted North Face and Thorogood apparel, 50% off regular price. All women's handbags and accessories, 30% off regular price. Entire stock of women's regularly priced boot, UGG excluded, 25% off regular price. Presidential savings are yours. The 17th through the 22nd at Scioto Shoe Mart, 615 Harding Avenue, Sciotaville.
You're listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Final segment for today's edition of The Drive. Our text line still open, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop. Welcome back to tonight's edition of The Drive here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. This is our final week of Marshall basketball on the road, true road game, before we get the Herd back for two. In a strange scheduling quirk again, you have Old Dominion, then you have Appalachian State, then you come home and it's rinse and repeat. And I don't know if I like that. I don't know if the schedule can be balanced a little bit better next year. I'm not saying anything that Marshall's gone through is a result of the schedule. You play the ones they put in front of you. That's just how it works. Some teams probably don't like their schedule as well, and I get that completely. But for the Thundering Herd, it's been a little bit of a challenge, I'm sure, going on the road, coming back, and then going right back on the road before you get your home games. But for the Thundering Herd, you get two on the road now, two at home, then you go to the tournament, and you figure out what's going to happen. And looking at those tournament standings right now, and here's the thing, none of this is really going to matter until the final game. It could change now. It could change 2 or 3 more times. But the big takeaway for me was, and it's Marshall's 2 games back. And so Marshall, the only team that I think we're looking at here that Marshall could really overtake is if Marshall swept App State. Marshall sweeps App State, then you can overtake App State. Old Dominion's right there at 3 games. 7-7 in league play. Marshall's 8-6. Not much difference there. And again, App State's 9-5, 1 game back of the leaders, which there are 4 of them. South Alabama, James Madison, Arkansas State, and Troy. All 10-4. Marshall lost to South Alabama, split with James Madison. Arkansas State, that was a surprise for everyone. And then earlier in the year, a lot of people thought Marshall should have beat Troy State. And Troy won that game by 1 point, 58-57. So that was one that we talked about earlier, and the vibe I was getting from a lot of you was, yeah, that was one Marshall let it get away. That was one that Marshall should have had. And I think we've had several of those games where you felt like, okay, Marshall should have had that game. Marshall should have had that game. The Southern Miss game to start conference play, Marshall should have had that game. And then the game against Troy, and you go, okay, Marshall should have had that game. I mean, it's 2 right there. And then James Madison, the second game, the loss, which was a 3-point loss. Again, we talked about Marshall should have had that game. So that's 3 right there that Marshall should have had. And then just the disappointment. You go to Georgia State, you throttle Georgia State 92-79, and then you come back home and you're feeling good. You're feeling really good about where you're at right now. You lose that one, 85-81. That one should have had that game, and a lot of people were mad about that game, if you remember correctly. And then you feel good about, okay, you beat Coastal Carolina, you beat Arkansas State, national TV, 77-72, and all of a sudden it's like, all right, Marshall's got this thing put together, just beat the best team in the league in front of a national audience, and then you go on the road and you lay an egg twice. You lose to South Alabama, you lose to Louisiana, and I think if you lost to South Alabama but won against Louisiana, I think her fans would be a little bit more forgiving. I think that's fair to say. Let's go back to the text line before we wrap this up. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Texture says, Paul, what did you think of the Canadian fans with their Prime Minister Trudeau at the game booing our national anthem, and then our guys dropping gloves right after puck drop to lay the smackdown on Canada? Well, if you're Don Cherry, you love every moment of it. And if you don't know who Don Cherry is, do yourself a favor, Google Don Cherry. But the Kachuk boys, that was premeditated. They premeditated that. They planned on doing it. They had a sequence of what they were going to do. And I think that really got the team fired up. They got the crowd into it even more. I think the fans in Canada were going to boo any flag, but more so with the United States. And I don't know if a lot of that's directed towards the current administration. I can't speak for the fans in Canada, but if I'm Team USA, I don't care what the reason is. If you're booing me or not, you're booing the flag, you're booing me. So I think that's the attitude. USA did not like that the national anthem was getting booed. It got booed in the game against Finland. If you go back to the first game, USA got booed in that one. USA got booed in Montreal against Canada. I was expecting that. I'm not a big fan of booing a country's national anthem. And the other thing I would like to see with the international play, maybe with the World Cup of Hockey, when that resumes, and with the Four Nations face-off, if that format comes back, I would want to see the national anthem played at the end, so the winning country in the match, the game, would get to hear the national anthem. But it's going to be fun. You got the rematch in Boston on Thursday. Can USA beat Canada for a second time? It's tough. Sidney Crosby, Connor McDavid. That was Sidney Crosby's first loss wearing the Canadian sweater as the captain of Team Canada. We're out of time. Back tomorrow. Have a great night, everyone.
Broadcasting from the Dave & Buster's studios. Eat, drink, play, and watch at Dave & Buster's in the Huntington Mall. ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. WRBC, W231BS Huntington.